r/AskReddit. There's a quote of Philip K. Dick that says, "There exists, for everyone, a sentence, a series of words, that has the power to destroy you. Which sentence is it for you? We were only your friend because you wouldn't take the hint." My dad had been abusive to my mom, brother and I. Between the three of us he was sexually, physically, emotionally and verbally abusive. He's worked through a lot of what made him a shit person, but I told him as he started trying to build a relationship with me, "You deserve to know what you did to me. I don't want an apology, I just need you to know that you're the reason I have an eating disorder that I'll have for the rest of my life." I could tell it really hurt him, which, I mean, sad day, but at the same time he deserves to know the hurt he caused me before building a relationship with me, so I wasn't the only one carrying that burden. Let me look through your Reddit history. I used to be so proud of you. You used to be so beautiful, my mom. Aw man, I got that in 7th grade when I changed schools and got bullied to shit for being the new kid and fell into depression. Thanks, Mom. Your tumor from 3 years ago has returned. Are you cured of it now? You make me happy, but being with you is making me miserable. Mental illness is insidious. If you think you might suffer from something that's negatively affecting your friendships or relationships, please talk with a therapist or a psychiatrist before it's too late. Sometimes, even after getting treatment, the damage is already done. Trust is earned, but with a lot of people it can only be earned once. My girlfriend suffers from mental issues. Sometimes, that exact sentence is what goes through my brain. I love her more than anything, but it's hard sometimes. You always see those posts about how to handle your loved one's moods in the throes of depression. Things along the lines of, if they are angry, give them space. If they are sad, give them a hug. I never see posts supporting those that always have to be the strong ones. Always have to be on guard because anything you say or do could be harmless one moment but trigger a war in the next. It isn't easy being the one who has to support because you never get the chance to be weak yourself. My best friend. Do you have a best friend? I thought I did. This one hurt the most. I experienced that when I was in college. I have a few friends in college. I really thought we got along just fine, but then one day my friend sat me down and told me the things I said or did that annoyed them so much. At the end of that conversation, she told me that they kinda don't want to hang out with me anymore. While it's good to be aware of my traits or things I say that have hurt or annoyed people so I could be a better person, hearing it from a person whom I cared about wrecked me. I've been friends with them for 3 years at that time and had grown attached to them. It really stung when she said they prefer not to hang out even if I offered to change. That was 12 years ago, but whenever I remember that moment, I can still feel a little bit hurt. Best friends aren't always reciprocal nor lifelong, and that's fine as long as you realize it. The guy I consider my best friend probably wouldn't consider me his. And I'm still good friends with my childhood best friend, but we've seen each other so rarely since we were 10 that I doubt either of us thinks we're still best friends. I think some people worry about the whole concept of best friend. Too much. Tell them, yeah, you. I feel you. Me. Will you be my maid of honor? Her. Really? Me? Well, okay, I guess. I don't love you anymore. Might not be helpful, but this was said to me, totally out of the blue in my eyes, and it was the immediate end. My friends tried to convince me to get a second chance etc. We were together about 6 years, and I just had one thought in mind which I will share with you now. I deserve to be loved. If someone doesn't want to be with you, you move on. She hadn't cheated or been cruel or anything, but if she doesn't love me, neither of us should be in the relationship, and it's time to move on without hate, unhappiness. I loved you. This one hurts me more than anything. I still have nightmares about it. The song Anymore by Frank Turner is a rather somber piece that hinges on these words. Very heavy weight to them. It was an offhand comment my mother made while we were arguing about something or other. You're such a burden. Her English isn't great, and it was the first time I'd ever heard her say the word, or even suggest she knew what it meant. We still don't speak much. Yes, I got maybe your dad would have loved you if you'd been born a boy. My dad was cruel, but deep down he loved me despite himself. My mom was projecting. I figured out she'd never loved me. Not for a moment. She hates everyone, so I'm not special. Made it a little easier to digest. For me it's because you buy us food. This thread is really getting to me. I got a text saying, "What does trying mean?" And I asked what the context was. You're rather trying. Well, it means the other person finds you difficult. But it's not you. It's them. Don't think you're doing anything wrong. Who said it? My mother. Christ. If a human was to live forever, they'd grow insane from all the subtle negs over the course of each natural lifetime. Stop talking. That hurts deeply because I love talking. Someone said that to me at a wedding once and I've never forgotten it. I didn't even know them. No one wants you here. Anyone can say it. And no matter how much progress I've made, it always rings true. What does it really matter? If they're that rude with you, you shouldn't even want to be with them. Nobody who is worth being around ever said something like that. I had somebody say something similar to me my senior year of high school. I went to sit down at lunch and this girl said, "Stefan, why do you sit with us? Nobody here likes you." I ate lunch with the student teacher of my math class for the rest of the year. I remember the moment. I was in the hospital. It was my 29th birthday. My girlfriend and I had just been hit by a drunk driver. I was getting glass removed from the laceration in my arm. I was confused, but calm. The surgeon stitched my wounds. My father walked in the room. I had never seen him cry before. He looked at me and broke down. "I'm so sorry. She didn't make it. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, dude." At that point, just keep nodding for around 5 minutes. Blank expression. At the end, ask if you can have your hint now. Don't leave till you've got that fucking hint. Then go find friends that don't play fucking riddles. This is the thing I fear the most. I can't imagine losing my boyfriend. Especially now that we've established a mutual desire to spend our lives together. Not engaged yet, since I still have some school left. I'm so sorry you had to experience such a loss. I hope you've found a path to finding peace and happiness. Nobody actually likes you. We all just pretend to. But you're actually super annoying. I legit told my friends, "How the fuck do you put up with me? I don't even like me." They didn't like that. And later when one of them came over and we discussed the most annoying parts of our common friends, I asked what he thinks is my biggest flaw or most annoying thing I do. And he told me that I keep dragging myself down. I have good friends. Not many, but good ones. Been there, and boy, it did wreck me harder than anything had in years. It also helped me grow up afterward and stop wasting time with judgmental cowards. If you have a problem with me, just organize a casual meeting to talk it out. Don't bitch about me endlessly behind my back. Goddamn it, life is now so much better away from that toxic groove. Unexpected item in the bagging area. Remove this item before continuing. Picks it up, place your item in the bagging area. TCH, like I'm gonna tell you my weakness. See, this is genius, because that is the sentence that would destroy you, but everybody will just think you are being defensive. I'm disappointed in you. Then fucking say words, bitch. 200,000 years of human cultural progression and suddenly you forget to use our most basic tool, communication. I am very proud of you because you wrote in this post. What if every relationship you've ever been in is somebody slowly figuring out they didn't like you as much as they hoped they would? James Acaster ironically said during his stand-up routine, which otherwise was hilarious. Relationships are like houseplants. Some people manage to get them to grow and thrive. I just try to get them to die as slowly as possible. You ever feel like to know you more is to love you less? Hollyhock. Which he then followed up with, and one day I will be brave enough to end my show on that. I love James Acaster. He's probably the funniest comedian around at the moment. And yet, he's had such a hard time with his mental health. I admire how forward he is about his own experiences. A lot of relationships are this way, I think. Friendships, romance, marriages, etc. It just happens, but usually it's on a subconscious level. The fighting and bickering happens. Nobody knows why you're not getting along anymore in my experience. When people have asked what happened to so and so, I would usually say the more I got to know them, the less I liked them and I ended it. Am I exempt from that? Absolutely not. You bet that's happened to me, but nobody has ever come out and said, "Now that I know you, I don't like you." A feedback form would have been nice though. Goddamn, I love these peaches. You look like you're going to spend your life having one epiphany after another, always thinking you've finally figured out what's holding you back, and how you can finally be productive and creative and turn your life around. But nothing will ever change. That cycle of mediocrity isn't due to some obstacle. It's who you are. The thing standing in the way of your dreams is that the person having them is you. In Zen Buddhism, this is literally one of the ways to learn to see yourself. Here's a quote from Cherry Huber: "If the problems you have been trying to solve your whole life could have been solved by you, the way you are, and the way you tried to solve them, they would have been solved by now. Stop trying to solve them and learn to accept them. They aren't problems but just your life and the way it is." Once you see them differently, as part of you, then you can change who you are. You were a shitty parent. This sounds familiar. Is it from a movie? Mate, just fucking at me next time, Jesus. I felt this in my soul. Ruined me. Biggest fear. Finally written out for me to see. Thank you for this. I'm gonna go prove it to be false. Don't let this comment crush you. It's not true. Turn it on itself. Find your weaknesses and kill them all. Your mother has passed. I was raised by a single mother for most of my life before she remarried. But even then it's always been me and her against the world. Most of who I am is because of her. I dread the day that she passes on to the next world. I know for a fact that sentence will destroy me. Not forever, but it will destroy a part of who I am. Along same lines, but it wasn't even a sentence. My father passed away suddenly and my wife took the phone call. The look she gave me when she had to tell me did more damage than the words that followed. Single most heartbreaking moment of my life. This sort of shit honestly keeps me up at night. I don't know if I'd still be me after losing my mom. I totally get what you are saying. Mine raised me and passed in 2007. It still hurts remembering that day. Sunday, November 11th at 11:16 a.m. Right there with ya. Me and my mom are best buds and went through thick and thin. I helped her when she couldn't carry on and vice versa, and I dread the day when I hear those words so much too. What is wrong with you? This crushes me every time I remember it. It's what I shouted at my 4-year-old son after some random thing he did, and it's my most shameful memory. He burst into tears and I worry every day that somehow it's imprinted into his memory and irrevocably altered his personality. I love him to so much, but somehow my brain is just terrible with people. Even the people I love the most. I wish I knew what was wrong with me. I had to say something similar to one of my parents 6 years ago. It hurts us to say it too. Being a parent doesn't make you perfect. You're still human. You'll still fuck up. I'm sure your son doesn't dwell on it like you do. Don't be so hard on yourself. Man. Self-reflection is the first step towards change. I doubt your child is gonna have lifelong trauma BC of one instance of being shouted at, as long as you make it up to him by being a great, loving parent otherwise. And it seems like you have the capacity to do so if you really want to change. I'd recommend writing down any behavior like this. Reflect on your motives, why you did it, what led up to it, etc. Best case scenario, you notice a pattern. Become more self-aware about your behavior, and stop the outbursts before they happen. Worst case, you still won't be able to help yourself. But even then you're going to have your thoughts organized and ready to present to a mental health professional. Maybe then they could help you figure out what's exactly holding you back. Best of luck. Next time just say, "Why would you do that?" Followed up with what they aren't supposed to do. My 4-year-old punched a baby and I was like, "Why would you do that? You don't punch babies. You are the weakest link. Goodbye." Fuck, I missed that show. Worst thing to hear during an orgy. We need to talk. My dad used those words and it was followed by, "There's dinner for you in the microwave." He was unaware of the horror of these words. About Kevin. OMFG, yes. Those are the worst words ever. Instant terror. This is why I'll never tell my mom. She tried her best. For the most part. For 20 years. Alone. She seriously fell short. And messed me up badly. But she doesn't deserve the damage that knowing this would do to her. You have been accused of insert some impropriety with a minor. I'm a teacher. Just an accusation alone would almost certainly end my career. I literally have nightmares about that shit. I had to talk now former, in large part because of this, friend out of accusing a teacher who had it out for her. He didn't. She was just an awful student, of fooling around with her just to get back at him. She couldn't comprehend that he wouldn't just get suspended or fired, but his fucking life would basically be over. After exhausting all other options, I threatened that I'd make copies of the chat log where she was talking about making up the accusation and send them to school administrators if she went through with it. As a young adult who spends a lot of time with children one way or the other, my friends have made stupid running jokes that I'm a pedo and that's why I hang around kids. It's all stupid fun and games and teasing until I got to a job interview and found that we had a mutual friend who had talked about me to the guy and how I was a pedophile. That shit did not fly once he figured out I was friends with that guy, and I was the one his friend had mentioned. In that crashing moment of pure terror, I realized that these in-jokes broke outside the confines of our group and began to spread. That That shit was not cool. I've since had nearly no new tutoring or childcare gigs since Mr. Fucko, the hiring manager, felt it was his moral imperative to contact my clients to mention my reputation. These things are life-crushing. If even one person believes it as reality, it sticks. It's scary. It's such a weird world we live in where you have to be so careful about that kind of thing not to try and raise any sort of alarm to people. I really like kids but don't have any of my own, but as a 30-something male I can't just be too friendly around kids because I get paranoid that someone will think the wrong thing about it. Quetzalcoatl, I know your Reddit account is Quetzalcoatl. You've just revealed your Reddit name to everybody here. Fool. Mwahahahaha. I posted on our roast once and someone used my childhood nickname in the comments. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever read on Reddit. I spent the next 10 minutes going through every comment and post I've ever typed, making sure I deleted any responses to weird AskReddits and stuff like that that I wouldn't want my friends or family to know. Luckily I have 2 accounts and one of those I try to keep safe for work, which is the one my roast me was in, so there wasn't too much that had to be deleted. I had a random coworker call me by my old Reddit username one day. Nuked a 3-year-old account that night. He knows more about me than my own parents do. Me and my female friend are growing apart right now and I'm having a hard time accepting it, though I haven't brought it up. So MNE would be, I can respond and I'm only pretending to be busy. Can you PLS stop texting me? We aren't like that anymore. Whatever we had, it gone. So just go. Same here, dude. Ha, that won't even begin to phase some parents I know. I'm having a similar situation, RN, and it's so upsetting. I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. I said, 1 large pan pizza with pepperoni and black olives. You're just like your dad. This, but my mother. It would utterly destroy me if someone truly meant it. Emperor Palpatine said something similar to Luke, but look how it turned out for him. This legit starts fights for me. Made worse when I was younger because my friends liked my dad because they never knew what an awful, selfish person he was in private. Someone said that to me once. I hanged myself because of it. Miraculously I survived. After a week in the ICU, and despite being given only a 5% chance of survival and less than that for not being in a persistent vegetative state. The wonders of modern medicine. You're not good enough. So I was looking through your browser history. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. Gently tap that like button and subscribe for more content. I will be doing giveaways for the best comments soon. Love you all. 3.